our speaker today doesn't really need a whole lot of introduction because she's a stable force around Adam. And she's on our board of directors. And the topic that she picked today, I know personally that Anne has faced many of the challenges in her life through love and forgiveness. And today she's here to talk to us about the power of forgiveness. So please give our dear, loving friend Anne WingQuest a welcome.
So I just received a butterfly, and I'm going to hang it up so you all can see it. The butterfly is my metaphor, and transformation is my journey. This is cool because I put all my books right under here. You can just pull them out one at a time. So Easter is here, and Jesus was always one of my leaders all through my life since I was 5 years old. I was asked one time when I was 5 what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said, I don't know what I want to be, but I'm going to be here when Jesus comes back. And everybody went, wow. And I thought, where did that come from? I mean, even as a little kid, I thought, wow, that was pretty big mouthful kind of thing. So my co-presenters today are Jesus the Christ, because Christ is not Jesus' last name, and Saint Germain, who has attended me most specifically for the last 25 years. I spend an hour every morning with Bud over the phone, meditating. And then I spend another hour reading books and being in reflection and wonder. Sometimes I'm wondering why I'm so crabby. Because what I've discovered is that we have to bring our human and our divine selves together in a sense of compatibility, and to allow the human to be human and allow the divine to assist us with that. For years and years and years, I was really, really hard on myself. I was always very patient with other people, but not with myself. And it's only been like in the last 10 years that I finally decided I'd been on the cross enough. Because Jesus only went on it once. And I kept returning. So forgiveness, I feel, was one of his largest messages to the people. And in thinking about it, this is Palm Sunday. This was the day when all the people got lined up to herald the King of the Jews. They had a completely off idea of what that meant. They thought he was going to go over and move everybody out of the palace and move in, and everything was going to be okay, and so we should celebrate. And that immediately brings up for me times when I've had a misperception of a situation, and then I was really disappointed that it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. And I blame somebody else for that. Because I think one of our biggest struggles in our human self is that we want things to be our way. And if the rest of you would just play your parts the way that I've written them, I could be happy. And I've since learned that there's nothing out there. And that was a hard one for me. What do you mean there's nothing out there? I see people, I see a post, I see trees and birds and all this stuff, and what do you mean there's nothing out there? And what I came to realize is that it all is being processed through me. And I make up a lot of stuff. And once I stopped doing that and just said, okay, so what I'm seeing out there is inside me. Do I like what I see? Do I want to change it? Do I want to make a different choice? So I'm a reader, I'm a studier, I'm still hanging on to my books. I don't really like to read on electronic devices. I like my books. And you'll notice that my books look kind of ratty. Now this one is out of print. And so even though it's got a little few coffee stains and stuff on it, it's really, really a powerful book. We probably have it in the library. I haven't looked in the library. But this one was channeled, and that was another hurdle that I had to overcome, because most of the books that I cherish the most have been channeled. And back in the day, my grandmother's very Baptist, and anything that was channeled was suspicious. And I don't believe that at all. And through the reading of the channeled books, one of the things that I got is those ascended masters and those archangels are really, really, really trying to get us to see things differently. And they make huge promises in their books about, I am with you. Saint Germain is always saying, I am your faithful servant in this cause. And I think you're my, wait a minute. That's kind of a huge leap for me. But everything that I have followed through the guided writings has been so solid and so true that it has given me a huge foundation for having trust in the unseen world. And I'm very, very excited right now because it's coming here. It's here now. We don't wait anymore. We're in the middle of it. And the more aware you are, the more excited you can become. Even with all the swirling, whirling stuff going on and all the naysayers and all the, people who are saying, you've got to get out there and do something. I say, no, not really. What I need to do is what is in front of me and to ask for guidance on what it is I should be doing. I spent years running around in those mazes and hitting walls and then having to come back. And that always made me mad that, oh, another wall, I have to find my way back to center. But I'm glad that I went through all that, of course, because now I know that I don't have to. So anyway, the reason I chose this topic is that, to me, it can set you free. First of all, I don't really think there's anything to forgive, except what I misunderstood, what I didn't see correctly, what I named something that wasn't pleasant. And when I stay in that place and I look out there, I see like everybody in a theater doing their little thing. You know, digging a hole, digging a hole, digging a hole. What are you doing? I'm digging a hole. What's it for? I don't know. Okay, well, good luck with that kind of thing. And just to let everybody be who they are. I heard a wonderful speaker on Friday at a conference who gave us permission to be who we are right now, today. She said, I know I'm up here speaking and that you're supposed to be listening to me, but I'm giving you permission. If you want to play on your phone, play on your phone. If you want to take a nap, take a nap. I am giving you permission to be whatever you want to be right now, this minute. And you could just feel the whole audience kind of relax, like, oh, what relief kind of thing. And she likened herself to a superhero who ran around putting on everybody else's oxygen mask and crashed. And she was an ER nurse and very highly regarded. And so for her to have a breakdown was very traumatic for her because she was afraid that she was going to lose her standing and her reputation and people's trust and all that kind of thing. And so it was hard for her to initially go to the hospital. I mean, she's worked at the hospital. She was a staff person at the hospital, and here she is in the mental health ward. But she said, I sat there and I was feeling all this going on. And when the nurse came back to me and said, hi, you've been here for 2 days. How are you feeling? She said, nothing's changed. And I'm not leaving here until something changes. She said the nurse's eyes got really big because they like to get you out of there as fast as they can. And instead, this nurse found a place for her in Arizona to go and do some recovery work. And now she is doing the recovery work with other people. The funny thing is that I had lunch with her. I didn't know she was the final speaker at the conference. I usually go and sit with people that I don't know when I'm at a place like that, just to get to know different people. And I had lunch with her, and we were having this wonderful chat about our experiences and everything. And then there she is up there on the stage. And I would love to have her come and talk to us, because she just completely eliminated the pressure of everything else. So, I love my books. I love the way that they're written. It doesn't seem to me to be worth my time to rewrite things that are already well written. So I've sort of bookmarked a bunch of stuff to read to you today. And one of them is, these little books come from Summit Lighthouse. These are little pocket books. And I love them because I can slip them in my purse, I have one in my car. And if I read them at stoplights. I read them when I'm waiting for somebody to show up. When I'm waiting in the doctor's office, someplace like that, I just pick them up. So, Saint Germain is known as the master alchemist. An alchemist is just someone who changes one thing into another thing. Okay? The big magic mystery story is that you can change metals into gold. But what I've found is that changing my views and my way of operating in life is much more difficult than changing metals into gold. And his approach is very sober. He talks about things from a perspective of how you can get out of alignment and off the trail, as much as how to stay on the trail. Because his salutation is, may you pass every test. And what I've learned about the straight and narrow is that you can go off so easy. You know, you wake up, you get yourself all fueled up, you have all your prayers and, you know, all your little light bubbles all around you and everything. And then you go out and find out that somebody knocked your mailbox down. And that's the moment that you have to make a choice of whether you're going to let this spoil your day and run you off the track, or whether you're going to take a deep breath and just, my phrase is, don't you just love it?
Mm-hmm.
How did I know that was going to happen today? Don't you just love it? And it might sound quirky, but it works every time. Flat tire, somebody splashes your windshield and you can't even see out the window, all that kind of little nervous stuff. You just need to let it go. Just let it go. And it took me a long time to learn that. And at one time I used to count all of my mistakes during the day.
Oh my God.
Well, back on the cross. And finally, and this woman made the suggestion to make a I did list every day. What did you do today? Write everything down that you did right today.
Mm.
Even little things.
Mm.
I fed the dog. I put the dishes in the dishwasher. Because you all have a to-do list of, I've got to get this done today.
Mm-hmm.
And it never gets done. And all of it never gets done. And not all of it is really all that necessary to do it all. And when you let yourself off the hook and you come from a place of, this is what I did today. I didn't yell at that person. I didn't get upset. You know, no, what did I do today? I stayed calm. On the way to the conference on Thursday, there was a big car accident down on Gamble Street, 3 cars, so there's only one lane getting through. And people are pulling over and honking, and I thought, and I just went with the flow. I got there on time. No harm. No harm. And I was calm. And that's my goal. The other thing that she shared with us that I really liked is always have a line through. Like, today my line through is to be consistent. And so when I look back on my day, how many times was I consistent? That was my line through. And you can change it every single day. But it makes life more fun, and it makes it more focused. And so forgiveness is part of that. Forgiveness is the time when because there's really nobody to forgive but yourself. One line in The Way of Mastery is, what forgiveness really is overlooking a projection that you made onto somebody else. Think about that for a minute. I projected it, they responded or reacted, and then I took it personally. But where did it come from? It came from me. A lot of people do a lot of annoying things. And the reason that I thank them now is because I'm trying to get rid of all those triggers. And the only way that I know that a trigger is still there is if I get triggered. And instead of saying, you annoy me, I say, wow, I thought I'd gotten over that. That offended me. Why? Because it's part of my pattern. And I don't want that pattern anymore. So thank you for being in my life. You give me maximum opportunity for personal growth. Right? And it makes a trust and esprit de corps with people just gets bigger and bigger because they know you're not going to be all prickly. And that's a great benefit for why you would want to forgive. The story of Jesus, I don't even know whether all that story is true or not, but it's a great story that he took on all of our sins and abolished them. He's been waiting for 25 years for us to get what that means. And last year at Easter, I was feeling kind of sheepish because I realized that I'd never really received his gift. I'd never really taken it in and said, thank you very much. That was amazing. And that's where I am now. I am saying, thank you very much. That was amazing. Because I don't know all of the different levels and all. I did learn that Christ consciousness is available to all of us. It's a perfect design. God gave each one of us the very same set of tools to live our life with. Our own spark of his light, our own little GPS system. And if we turn it on, we can go down the path to Christ consciousness without any problem. The problem is that our ego is always flicking it back off. That, you turn it on, it's real easy to be all warm and fuzzy and forgiving and expanded and everything in my living room. Because the cat's happy. The cat's happy. She just looks at me and sometimes gets up and curls up with me, but she doesn't give me any argument at all. So it's just the people that I have to run into all day that are the challenging part of staying in that. And is it their fault that I don't stay there? No. I turned it off. And this is the straight and narrow. Once you recognize that you've turned it off, you turn it back on immediately. No shame, no blame, no big long stories, no arguments. You say, uh-oh, I turned it off. I need to turn it back on. And then you're back in the flow. And there are 3 obstacles that we are very fond of using: fear, judgment, and attachment. Fear, according to one source, is anything that makes you feel that your personal body self is threatened, whether it's money or attack or any of that kind of stuff. That's a lot of where illness. When I was told that I had breast cancer, I made up a decision right there that I was not going to be afraid of it. And so what I did was I called it RECNAC, which is cancer backwards, because my brain did not know what to do with that definition. It couldn't find a definition for RECNAC. And so I used it as a lesson, awakening, and decided that I was going to go out and share my positive attitude with everyone else who was experiencing breast cancer. And so I would go into the infusion parlor and I would sit next to the person that was crying and looked like they were just about ready to give up. And just sit there. And we might chat, we might not chat. And now I'm cancer free, 2 years in a row now. And so it was only just a lesson. It wasn't, I didn't have to be afraid. Judgment is one that is a real, that's like a whole year course in how to move from judgment into discernment and into a pause to decide what you're going to do. Remembering not to take things personally and not to make assumptions. Those are two very helpful things with judgment. Because and another one is humility. I've become very, very humble from the place that I don't really know what's going on with another person unless I ask them what's going on with them. And usually there's a backstory that just melts my heart when I come in contact with a really crabby person and they tell me what's going on in their life. I can't be in the same place I was when they were yelling at me. So we have to watch ourselves with the whole idea of judgment. First of all, if there's nobody out there and you're all little points of my own consciousness, then what do I want to see? How do I want to interact with you? How do I want to invite you into my life? And how do I want to be invited into yours? Through love, wisdom, and power. Now, power got kind of a bad name because we see bullies taking over and making decisions that hurt other people and all this kind of stuff. But Saint Germain talks about power. The primary types of power are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy in various forms. There is electrical, chemical, nuclear, elemental, and cosmic power. There is temporal power consisting of social influence and mass pressures, governmental and religious authority. Meanwhile, karma power affects everyone's status, attainment, and progress. All power is interrelated. Some is stored, some is static, some is dynamic, and is subject to rapid decay rate. All power is subject to two primary qualifications under the classification of relativity: divine and human, or cosmic and universal, or material and transitory. That's a pretty neutral definition of power, right? The other thing about power is that it's always available, but you have to put it into action. And so it's important to be aware of how you're using your power. I, for one, like the kind of power where it's supporting and moving people in a positive way. I don't like it when people are pushing me around or acting as if they want to push me around. And I've learned to find a poise where they're not allowed to do that. I used Saint Germain's idea of putting a bubble around myself so that when anything negative comes in, it just bounces back off. When it gets through, I know that I'm not being centered and I'm not focused on Christ consciousness. That's not I slipped out and went down a trail, and now I've got this thing going on. But you see the perspective that I'm saying here. I didn't say, you did that to me. I say, where am I? What am I thinking right now? How did this even get that close to me? And I put my little bubble back up and wished the person well. I met a man in the grocery store one day. What happened was the guy that was putting the carts away was going back out the door, and he said, just leave your cart right there. I'm coming right back, and I will fold your cart in with the rest of them. So this man comes in and gets in one of those electronic cart things, and he goes, why the hell did you leave your cart right there? I can't even get around, and blah, blah, blah. And I just looked at him and I thought, and I said, are you in a lot of pain? And he just kind of melted. And I said, I'm sorry. I can explain the situation, but it really doesn't make any difference. Do you want me to help you shop? That's a different me than going, don't you? and just putting it back, and then we have a big struggle, and who wins? Nobody. And that really became very, very apparent to me during COVID. I wore a mask during COVID, not even knowing whether it was true protection or not protection, but I wore it because I didn't want to see fear in other people's eyes. And somehow or other, that mask seemed to make people feel safer. What the heck? Is it a big deal for me? Is it a point of my personal rights that I don't have to wear a mask and I don't have to believe in illness and all this? No. Because in the beginning, we would go in the grocery store and people would move their cart way off into the to let you buy like you were the germ. And I was thinking, wow, we're really being tested here. Because when COVID first hit and they told us all to stay home, I asked two questions. Is this more than an epidemic? And am I going to get it? The first one was, oh no, this is a mass ascension. And everybody that's leaving had this on their dance card, and they're gone. And yes, it's very grievous because the people that got left behind lost loved ones. And I saw little dandelion puffs going off the earth. Hundreds and hundreds of little dandelion puffs going off the earth. And I thought, oh, that's beautiful. And the answer for me, for where you're going to get it, is no. And I never did. I washed my hands until they were raw because I work in the health industry. And I made sure that we were being safe. But that was my impression of it. So, all right, let's see. So, to start out with forgiveness, you take 150% responsibility for everything that you think, everything that you do, and everything that you feel. Coming from that place, you realize that there's nothing out there. The second axiom in the way of mastery is, I need do nothing. Everybody goes, what? No, you change it to, I choose what I do. I do not have needs. I have choices. So when you say, well, I need to fix that person, or I need to wash the floor. No. If you want a clean floor, wash it. If you don't care, leave it the way it is. It's okay. So that's the first one. And the second one, I need do nothing, which people always argue with me about. What do you mean? Look at what's going on. We get a poster, get a sign, walk the walk. Write your legislator, call the governor, or whatever. Say, well, I could make those choices, or maybe that's just not mine to do. I wasn't asked in this lifetime to hold a campaign against sex trafficking or poverty or female mutilation or all those other ugly things that are going on out there. I was asked to do something else. And for me to run off and start a orphanage in Africa would be so far out of where I was asked to be. I met a lady on the plane, that was what her mission was. And she flies back and forth because they're running an orphanage in Africa. And she's just glowing because that's her purpose. Okay, so first of all, we accept everything as our own personal responsibility, and then we start making choices. Now this is where it's kind of sticks in your craw. When you make a choice that turns out to be really awful, and to go look in the mirror and say, you made that choice. Now we're going to have to make another choice because that one really bombed. Sometimes that happens with another person involved, and I need to go back to that person and say, I think that I led both of us down a blind alley, and I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Thank you for coming with me, and thank you for forgiving me when you hit the wall. I didn't say that forgiveness isn't about bringing a situation into view where you did hurt someone or their feelings or something crashed. But I am saying that we were in it together. We made the choice together. For me, it crashed. So I'm saying I wanted to let you know that for me it crashed. And if it crashed for you, I'm sorry. Because I was the one with the big voice and the flag running down the... I said, come with me, come with me. And so attachment is also kind of a sticky one. Isn't that a funny metaphor? Because we can become very attached to spiritual ideas and think we're really full of wisdom. We are full of information. Wisdom is different than information. Wisdom hits you way down deep in the core of your being when you realize that you are playing some kind of game. One of my games used to be beat the clock, beat the system. I'll show you. You tell me I have to do it that way. I'll show you I can do it a different way and you won't even notice, kind of thing. God, that's exhausting. And I have a dear friend, she's in an evangelist religion, and so I have to be very careful the way that I say things to her, but she doesn't play any of those games. She's just authentic all the time. And she doesn't have to worry about whether anybody's going to notice that she was playing a game because she just doesn't play them. And I thought, wow, that looks so peaceful. I think I'll take you up on that one. So let me see. So you need to be careful of what you attach yourself to, even people. I used to tell my husband, my second husband and I were just really close, and we were soulmates. And I used to tell him, I think I love you too much. Because I was very, very attached to him. So when he left the planet, I was really crushed. And one day I was in meditation, and this little voice came to me and said, I need to let you know that before you either one of you ever came down into this lifetime, you agreed that he would go first. And I thought, what? And then my second thought was, oh, well, if we already agreed on that, I guess I'm going to have to quit whining about the fact that he's gone and go on with whatever I'm supposed to be doing. But that took me almost 2 years sitting on the couch. And then I said, I need a community, and I ended up here. Because I went and visited Unity, I went and visited the center, the science center, I went and visited. And when I came here, I thought, this is my community. And that's when I joined. And I've been here ever since because it's very, very near and dear to my heart. And I learned so much from all of you that this is my home. All right, let's see. I have an exercise I wanted to do. And I think I got this from Camille Moritz. She has a book. She calls herself a revelator. And she's very fond of words. And she writes these wonderful decrees and cleansing kinds of things. And this is for forgiveness. What you do is you put your name in one slot, and then you put the person that you think you need to forgive or who needs to forgive you in the other slot. And I was thinking, who, in my experience right now, am I needing to forgive? And I decided to choose Donald Trump.
Oh dear.
I don't know this man at all. I know all the hype and all the frightening things and how well we've completely debased him. I don't know what's true and what isn't true, but I know he is a human being and a divine being at the same time. He may have chosen this lifetime to run completely off the track. I don't know, but I need to let go, and I need to ask for forgiveness. Because in my little mind, when nobody's watching, I have said some very wicked and vile things about that man. And I don't want him living inside of me, thank you very much. So, I'm going to read this, and if you have someone that you want to put in your little slot, just go ahead. The purpose of this is to clear any and all karma from all lifetimes in which the one called WingQuest and the one called Donald Trump were together. Let us be free. Amen. I ask the Holy Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, all the angels and saints and higher beings, to assist me in declaring us absolved from all karma collected in any relationship during any lifetime in which we were together. And I pray for our souls. May we find peace. Let all the thoughts and feelings that would block the spiritual path of either of us be released. May any trace of darkness that might remain in our experience, even to the level of soul memory, be erased. I humbly ask that all debts be forgiven in the love and mercy of the Word, that all energy be transmuted into light, and that only memories of love and learning remain. Let this prayer release us from all anger, harm, resentment, or feelings of ill will that could be between us or be held by anyone in our circles of influence. Dear God, make my heart pure and my mind clear, that I might continue to be a channel of the light. Guide and direct me to use healing power only for the good of all. Forgive me if ever my ego has invaded my experience and created interference that has caused confusion or hurt in the experience of another. I ask that you put all things right according to your will. It is written that when a prayer is sent in the name and through the power of Jesus Christ, it is received, and it is so. I ask these things in the name and through the power of Jesus Christ. Amen. So there you go. I use this every single time somebody ruffles my feathers. The very next morning, I read this prayer and forgive that person, because if I have no other goal than to release all the karma for everyone, that is good enough for me. All right. So I can't see the, oh, here, I guess I've got it. Oh, okay, I've got about 2 minutes.
Anyone, you want to take some comments or questions?
Sure.
Thank you for playing the trump card.
Isn't it most amazing that his name is Trump?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the design, the big design, but maybe we all needed to wake up. And this, you know, we're getting hit right in the soft spot here. Now, our money is in jeopardy, and all of our rules and all of our stuff is in jeopardy. And yet, I know I was in Lemuria, and I know I was in Atlantis, and both of those went down. And here I am, right here. So apparently, it goes around and comes around, goes around and comes around. And we can take as many lifetimes as we want, but we're all going to get there, and I believe that.
Everything's in divine timing and happening exactly as it's supposed to. And then
Right.
we get to choose.
So for the very end, I love to read this. This is my benediction. This comes from A Course in Miracles, and I just love it. All right. And now in all your doings be you blessed. God turns to you for help to save the world. Teacher of God, and everyone in this room is a teacher of God. His thanks he offers you, and all the world stands silent in the grace you bring from him. You are the sons and daughters he loves, and it is given you to be the means through which his voice is heard around the world. To close all things of time, to end the sight of all things visible, and to undo all things that change. Through you is ushered in a world unseen, unheard, yet truly there. Holy are you, and in your light the world reflects your holiness, for you are not alone and friendless. I give thanks for you and join your efforts on behalf of God, knowing they are on my behalf as well, and for all those who walk to God with me.
What a beautiful, thank you, beautiful message. And you know what, this butterfly, it looks like it should be there. It's amazing. Yeah,
Laurel gave that to me.
yeah, that's awesome.
And here's another one.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And that's it. And Anne is also the facilitator of the Team Good.
Right, right. Everyone's on Team Good. I tried it with t-shirts, but the problem is I can't carry a whole crate of t-shirts around and ask for different sizes and all that. So I'm gonna go to bookmarks.
What about stickers too?
Oh, stickers are good. Cause the point is that when I see somebody doing something good, I wanna reward them right on the spot with something and say, you were just became a member of Team Good. Thank you for opening the door. Thank you for picking that up off the floor. It's those little teeny tiny things that we do that are gonna save the world. All right.
Yep.